Here. Troy Slattery, Public Works.
Here.
Jan Smith, Finance Department.
Here.
Julie Danowski, Clerk's Department.
Here.
Chief McQuay.
Here.
Lieutenant Yawks. And Attorney Hand is attending by Zoom. The agenda for this meeting was posted on the city's website and City Hall Bulletin Board on Wednesday, June 16, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Roberts. Before we get started with our meeting, I just want to go over a few of the ground rules, bookkeeping that we have here. Hopefully, if you want to speak, you have signed up in the lobby. Those that have signed up will get an opportunity to speak first. If you haven't spoke, those that have signed up, if you haven't signed up, we will allow you to speak after everyone who has signed up speaks. This is an opportunity now to turn off any phone calls or ringing devices that may interrupt the meeting. Also, if you decide to speak and you come up to the podium, please give us your name and address. Speak directly into the microphone as loud as you feel comfortable with. We do have people listening in on Zoom, and we also want everybody in the audience to hear. I do ask that the acoustics in this room are actually pretty good, and if you're having even what you think is a very soft conversation with your neighbor, council actually can hear that, and it also does muddy up our ability to record the meeting. So if you need to talk to your neighbor, we ask you to just go outside and we'll take it from there. All right, with that said, I want to thank everyone for coming. This is a special meeting. It wasn't normally on our calendar, so we appreciate the good turnout. Council, are there any comments regarding the agenda as it's published? Comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please note there are no comments. Now we go to the public comment section of this. What this is very simply, if you would like to speak, right now is your opportunity to speak. If you would like to speak to something that is not on the agenda. This means is if you want to talk about something new, something you want to bring to the council's attention, something you would like council to readdress, this is an opportunity to speak to that. If you want to speak to something that is on the agenda, then you will have an opportunity to speak when those agenda items come up. So is there, Ms. Roberts, has anybody signed up that would like to speak to council?
Yes, I have Shirley Pierpont Collop.
Welcome, sirs.
Thank you. Mayor, how are you?
Yes. Name and address, please.
Yes, sir. Eric Collop, 21320 Southwest 106 Lane Road, Dunnellon, Florida. I'm here. Mr. Pierpont had spoken to you, Mayor, and asked that we actually invite or come to this meeting on today in relationship to, sorry, a little stuffed up here. And well, first of all, good evening, council, mayor. Sorry, that was kind of rude. About we have a property in town, a 30-acre parcel next to the United Methodist Church. And my father-in-law, this is our project manager, Chris Shirley. We are in the process of developing an RV park in the city of Dunnellon. We have read all of the zoning and regulations related to developing it. The property is fit for it. We've had some issues related to pushing forward with the development itself, from engineering issues related to just a lack of, and I'll say it's not the city's fault necessarily, just lack of a clear plan on how we execute from here to be able to develop this park. We want to bring a nice park to Dunnellon. We think it's a very suitable place for it. I think the land's very pretty out there, and that it would be a very nice place that we could all be proud of. But in order to do that, we don't have a clear idea of how we should execute. And there's, engineers have been very frustrated, even in the sense that they want to help us, but we're not getting the type of, help from them that we need. So we just wanted to ask from the council, what do we need to do? What would you guys like to see from us to help present this plan so that we can push forward and get this RV park developed within the city? And I don't necessarily think you have to have an answer right this second, but,
Yeah.
And Chris has worked, Chris is next on the list.
We're going to need your name and address now, too.
Mine,
Name
Chris
and
Shirley. I live at 7770 Southeast 12th Circle in Ocala. And to add to what Eric said, what we're proposing could be so beneficial for the city in regard to appearance, tourism, and we've done all the homework, the research. We put a lot of time and energy into this. And we also feel that what we've kind of run up against was there isn't a clear process in place for us to get from point A to point B. We realize and have absolute, guaranteed cooperation. However that process is, we will absolutely do it. But this is a great opportunity for the city. We love the city of Dunnellon and the opportunity to do it here and what it can bring. And with that being said, from an environmental standpoint, all the way to, just overall appearance, setup, display, we are going to dot every I and cross every T. We just need to know how. It's just that simple. We just need to know how.
Yes. Yes, please.
Hi, Valerie Hunter. Question, when you're saying you're not getting the information that you need, is it because we don't have a community development director?
Yes, to be specific.
Okay.
And to speak frank to that.
No.
I realize, bottom line is, it's not the problems that we face, it's how we react to them. And I really believe, I understand that there are hurdles in place. The city, works with the potential it has. It makes the best decisions it can with the potential and the people that it has. And I get that. But for instance, part of what our hurdle is we have to go through a consultant, and this is not a problem, but just consider this. We have to go through a consultant, external from the city, pay them $6,000 hypothetical dollars. And they can't even give us a guarantee that the $10,000 to $20,000 we spent with a civil engineer is going to go anywhere. And that's the direction we have to go. So what do we need to do how can we help?
Question.
Yes.
I think a good start would be starting a conversation with us here, not only as council and the mayor, but also our audience, and present us with a conceptual plan, because an RV park, as a person who has a little RV and I've camped at a number of state parks and private parks, whatever, an RV park can mean anything, okay? So I would really like to see what your conceptual plan is. And you stated that it would be environmental enhancement for the city. I would like to have you clarify that, because
Sure.
again, an RV park is an RV park. How is that going to environmentally enhance our community? What are you going to do about sewer? Okay.
Well,
What
I understand.
RVs
We
do
understand
when
with
they come to a
PUD,
park?
yeah.
They don't.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Even from in-house water and sewer development, the first thing in regard to your question environmentally, what we need to do is, we're in the lines of a PUD, planned unit development. We know we have dotted our I's and crossed our T's, but there are certain things like removing turtles. All the way down to that. That's the consideration that, and we have to do it the right way. Dot every I, cross every T. So environmentally, yes, we'll be doing what we do. We'll be developing, but we'll be doing it in such a conscious way to both the environment, the city, and just overall productivity. And I would love the
Yeah, I'd like
opportunity
to
to
comment, just
present.
bring us a conceptual plan, because I'd like to know how many sites, how far away, how many trees are going to be left. Are you going to plant trees?
Yes,
What's the landscape?
I would
gonna
love that
be?
opportunity
Is
whenever
there going to
we
be
could schedule that.
abutment around it?
I would
or
love to.
neighbors, whatever.
Sounds like y'all need to come to a city workshop is how to probably get you started, but I know Teresa, I'm sure she's our biggest asset within the city for the planning department. Of course, she's one woman right now by herself over there, so.
I've spoken to her as well.
Okay, so, I mean, you're not having a problem, and I'm trying to grasp how it is, how you need us to help you, because really it starts with Teresa and going on with the city workshop, which we would have in July, if you'd be available for that.
Absolutely. And allow me to elaborate. I've spoken to her, and that's how we've already figured out that we have to go through a consultant through the process.
Okay.
Teresa's the one that directed us to do that.
Okay.
And I think, to just be a little bit more specific, the engineers that we bring on board just leave us with the impression that it's a little bit more difficult to deal right now. So they can't, I mean, everybody's got their share of work. And let's be frank, they're in business to make money, but they're not going to spend time on a process that they could do in a certain amount of time when it takes an extra amount of time to get that approved and get through the process.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you that we've had Publix come to town, and they told us that we were probably one of the best cities to ever work with to get their building done.
I take that in good faith, and I'll approach it that way.
So I really think that you're not going to have, and again, I know we're shorthanded right now, and that is a issue with us, and we are desperately trying to work on that.
And our position is not that point a finger, you got holes. That's not our position. It's what do we do to help that along, and how do we, benefit this? We want to make a footprint here, and we're going to be owners that are going to be owners for a long time. This is a business that's going to be our legacy.
I think what council has said, especially Ms. Cubbage, is that we do have a workshop scheduled in a couple weeks. And if you would like, we can actually put you on that workshop where you can make a 10 or 15-minute presentation
I'd love to.
and just let us know what it is. And then in the meantime, let us know specifically where you're at and what the city should be or could be doing to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. Sounds to me like what you're saying, you've taken it as far as you can take it,
Yes, sir.
and now there's no direction where to go from wherever you're at.
Well, it sounds like we've got great direction now.
Right. So you have to appreciate your introduction and your talk with us tonight is the first time any of us are familiar with us.
Sure.
So look at this as a starting point from wherever you're at to go forward.
Thank you.
So, Mandy, let's take a note. We'll put them.
We'll make sure you get on the next workshop.
All right.
Thank
So
very
you can
much.
bring some visual. We just asked you the presentations, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
We'll keep them nice and short.
We usually,
Dancing girls.
we usually have a lot of stuff on a workshop.
I have a
and-
pull string in my back. Don't
Yeah.
pull it.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for your time, folks.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank
so much.
Thank you so much.
Safe travels home, get out before you get wet.
All right. We have anybody else signed up?
I have crazy something. Chips?
Crazy Chicks?
Oh.
Crazy Chicks. Oh, my. Who is representing the Crazy Chicks? You all can stand up at the podium for support if you want, and one can speak.
Yeah, really. Really. Get crazy.
I like your shirt. Anthony's in the Villages. They liked it too. I got the outfit.
Okay, guys, we gotta have quiet.
Anthony's in the Villages. You got to check it out. It's new. It's a great place for women to shop.
Thank you.
And no, they didn't pay me to say that. All right, so my name is Jama Baumeyer, and I'm actually speaking on behalf of Tom and Peggy Eisenhower right here.
Address.
Address.
Oh, 1910 Ridge Oaks Court, Oak Ridge, North Carolina.
Wow,
Oh.
I'm the daughter,
okay.
so I'm just speaking on their behalf for Tom and Peggy Eisenhower and the crazy chicks sitting right here. That's the name of the shop, actually. They're not really crazy, I don't think, but that's the name of the shop. Okay? So I guess there's some confusion as to why the city of Dunnellon has called for a special meeting regarding the Lions Club property. Okay? So the question is to why the city of Dunnellon is interested in the property and what revenue are they expecting to receive from it? Tom and Peg Eisenhower currently owns the Crazy Chicks Antique Shop across the street from the Lions Club property, wanted to purchase a property to expand the Crazy Chicks Antique Store. Their thoughts were to expand the business to include more antique and gift shopping, have a small coffee cafe, and coffee, drinks, and pastries and donuts, as well as more parking for the shops. To expand on that historical district, bring in those people at the Villages shop in the Anthony's and bring them here to shop at our stores. Bring that money in, you know? So expanding the Crazy Chicks Antique Shop benefits all parties. Not only will expansion bring in from the Lions Club property back on the city's tax roll, but also create revenue through sales tax as well as bringing more customers into the historic district area. Tom and Peg Eisenhower understands the value of a successful business for small towns. They had an antique shop in Canal, Winchester, Ohio for about 25 years, 15 years. It seemed long, I was young, forever to me. But they understand how owning a retail store benefits not only the businesses on that street, but for the whole town. So that's what they're here for, is to try to get you guys to understand that maybe parking lot there or more room for the police officers, which I highly respect, might not be the best choice for the city of Dunnellon. It's shops. You know, they've taken me over there. I've walked down the street. You guys have something great going on here. You know, being from close to Mayberry and going up there to eat and shop, it's actually awesome. And I hear stories that people from the Villages like to come over here and walk their historic district. Everyone here is arguing, let's continue that. And I guess also across the street, there's a room in there, there's an Airbnb going in, which is phenomenal for this town. Airbnbs are what's happening. Everyone's renting them out. And if someone's not bringing it in right there in the historic district with all those shops, you guys are going to create a lot of revenue right there. It's a great opportunity. It really, truly is. So,
Thank you very much.
ladies, would any of you like to come up and say anything? Thank you.
Okay, ladies, we're gonna just have to give you just like a minute or so because, you know, we
you have questions
we
for
have to
me?
move on.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kim Mandela. I'm the manager over at Crazy Chicks
Welcome.
on Walnut Street,
Address?
20800 Walnut Street. I live in Citrus Springs, 11348 North Bunny Terrace. I was wondering if anybody here knows why First Saturday was ended, because that was a really big revenue stream for all of our small businesses in the historic district. People came from all over for that, and it's really hurt us a lot. I think that we're not doing it anymore, and nobody seems to know why. Okay. But I didn't know if you were even aware of that, the first Saturday.
No,
Yeah.
if you would like to speak, you'll have your opportunity to speak when she's done. Okay.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, it brought a lot of revenue into the city.
Didn't COVID have much to do with
We
it?
heard that it was because the city didn't want to assume the liability,
Would you like to respond?
but it's a
Okay.
rumor. It's
It
not.
was not a city-driven event,
Oh, okay.
so we had nothing to do with it. That was a chamber event.
Oh, because we were
Well,
told.
this will be something, usually the way we do this is people make their comments to us.
Mhm.
We listen.
We will
And then
pursue.
when we get to council comments, then we can take notes and make comments. If we have a discourse back and forth with every speaker,
Mhm.
you know, we will be here. So
Okay.
we're gonna take everything you said into advisement. I want to know a little bit more. First Saturday sale?
Yes. First
Yeah,
Saturday of every month.
I will tell you this, I know every time there is an event in the historic section, one of the benefits is that all the stores and shops in the historic section benefit from all the people and business that comes in there. So I know where you're coming from, okay?
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Very good. If anybody else would like to speak, you can. If anybody would like to speak in favor of what's been said, you can. This is your time to say it. So, okay, yes, please. Hi.
Hi, my name is Kat Bowie. I live on Russo Drive in Dunnellon. I'm
We need the full address.
Address.
10392 Russo Drive. I'm a crazy chick, okay.
We can hear you
I-
well. You don't have to stand on your.
I admit it. The reason I wanted to speak is since I've been affiliated with this shop, Crazy Chicks, which has been almost 2 years now, I realized how Dunnellon is a huge draw for not just people that are from the villages or Ocala or Crystal River or Homosassa or, you know, those places that are close to us. It's a huge draw for people from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan. A lot of the snowbirds come in. We've got a great town here. And the historic district, for me, when I moved, actually when I found out about this area in 2016, one of the first things that I came to was First Saturday in the historic district. And that's actually when I discovered the store, which was known as Six Crazy Chicks then. So I officially moved here in 19 and became associated with the shop. And we have a bunch of women there that are very creative and very industrious, and they want only the best things to come out of that store. And what we do provide is not just really cool stuff to buy for your house, you know, vintage type things, home decor, but we have some wonderful people that work in there that answer all the questions that people come in about where to go eat, where's the best place to shop, can you recommend this, can you recommend that? So we're almost like a little mini chamber of commerce. And I'm glad to say that because we have people not just from Dunnellon, we have people from Naples, Florida, we have people that have lived here all their lives in Dunnellon. I'm from Georgia. We bring a lot to the table as far as how we relate to all these folks that come in to Dunnellon. I wanted to say that because sometimes we don't realize a shop is more than just what they're selling out on their counters. It's the people that work there, and it's you know how we come across to our visitors, to the community. And I think the Grumble House across the street does a very good job of representing what we have here in Dunnellon. I think Crazy Chicks does a very good example of what we have here in Dunnellon. And I knew I would talk too long. And But we are only those two stores. Southern Vintage is now closing, and on Pennsylvania, I think there's Two Sisters and maybe Bonnie's. And then that's, as far as retail, we're running out of retail businesses in that area for people to come to. So I just wanted to say it would be good to see that we hang on to what we've got and maybe even look at expanding on the retail side of things. We definitely need a place for our police officers to be, definitely. But we also need retail because that is something that pulls our visitors in and creates revenue for the town.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Would anyone else want to speak even on this topic or any other topic? Yes, Tim.
Jan, you're going to be mad at me, but we're even asking, I have a request.
Name and address.
Tim Inskeep, 12140 Maple Street, Dunnellon. Thank you.
You're good.
Could we produce a spreadsheet showing for the past 5 years expenditures that we have spent for studies and for grant applications and such? When I go through the numbers and look through the numbers, especially for the grant applications, they're just seem way out of line for what is typical pricing for that. And then some of the studies that we're going out and doing, the same thing. Don't see where there's return for a lot of these, but a whole lot of expenditure. And what I'm asking for is that the spreadsheet contains the firms that receive the money for the studies and the grants, and then also contains what they're for as the historic district, city beach, contains that, so we can go through and see, and then also show whether the grant or study produced anything. We spend an enormous amount of money on studies and grant applications. But we don't, I've not seen anywhere where we've looked and seen historically, especially after, I'm just using 5 years, that's kind of when I've been in tune with things, to see are we really doing the best thing by spending these monies that we're spending. The straw that broke the camel's back to me is, well, maybe getting into the topic we're going to talk about tonight. And that's we're going to spend $15,000 to see if we can get a grant that, I don't think anybody would bet on that grant if it was their own money. And then when I add up all the ones I've seen from the years I go past, when I go through the past budgets and all that, there's a lot of money spent. So I don't know if it'd be, I'm requesting that it be done. I think it would be fruitful for the council to see these numbers, to see what we have spent on historic district, city beach, or whatever other things money on, and see what kind of return the taxpayers have received based on that, and see if something just isn't out of whack, or if it is in line, then that would, we could put that out and people would be happy that, hey, it is in line.
Tim, what I can say to you is getting the expenses, the numbers and the expenditures would probably be doable. To do an analysis of the effectiveness of those expenditures, that would be a whole different.
Well, for grants, it would either be we got the grant or we didn't get the grant.
But an analysis whether the grant or the study was effective and what we benefited from it, that's a whole different thing. But if you're asking for what have we spent, where does the money come from, all that is public record, and that can be. I'm onto what you say, and I have the same questions you have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Would anybody else like to speak? Yes, it's the Arville. Welcome.
Brenda DeArville, 11661 Camp Drive, Dunnellon. I have a question and then a couple thoughts I wanted to share with the council. The gentleman that came to speak about the proposal for the RV park, and really what's stopping everything, as we all know, is we do not have a community development director to help do the due diligence and the staff report and so forth. would it be possible if we reach out to some of our sister cities who have a community development director, that we might be able to retain their services for specific projects such as this until we can find a full-time community development director? That would be one question. The other thing to think about, because I've attended the meetings and hearing the discussion regarding the police department, and I had a thought. We have this beautiful building here, and we have adequate space that we could actually move the police department to this building. You would still retain this for meetings, for your councils, and for your boards. That would not change, but you already have a vault. You have a meeting room in there for you could use for interrogation. So there'd be plenty of space for the police to operate out of this building. It's also, I would think, important for visibility, because in perception, we only have, 1,900 residents, but a lot of traffic that come through. You would have the visibility of the police department here. They would also be able to oversee on the weekends all the boat launching and the parking and so forth. We could also feel very safe during these meetings because the police department would be here. Then as far as the staff, the city staff, the administration of this city could easily be moved to the Souls Harbor Church that you're entertaining with the police department. So I think physically it would be much less expensive than some of the ideas that you have put out there. So that's my thought for the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Is that Jeff? Yes, please. Not only when you give us your name and address, tell us the title, because there are certainly people in this room that don't know who you are yet.
The last time.
All right.
I'm Jeff Butchko. I'm the newly installed Executive Director of the Dunnellon Area Chamber and Business Association, resident 20890 Southwest 81st Loop here in Dunnellon, Florida. I just wanted to make a comment concerning the first Saturday. I know now it may have been because, gosh, the Chamber's coming up on a 100-year anniversary pretty soon. They may have sponsored it at one point, but I don't believe they had prior to it ceasing because of COVID and everything. But I do know that there would certainly be an interest within the Chamber of helping to resurrect that if that be the case. And please let us discuss it and see what we can do to help. So that's it. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. On this particular topic, I'm not really familiar about it, but you have piqued my curiosity, and I will ask some questions and find out what that was all about and why it was stopped and why it could or could not be renewed. I can't speak for my other council members, but it does sound like something that at least deserves a discussion. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? All right, do we have anybody on Zoom or anything like that, Ms. Roberts? No? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, public comment is over. Thank you very much. There was some very informative comments. Okay, we go to agenda number 1, which is the Lions Club property discussion. For everyone to know, you're actually witnessing and you're part of the very first time that this is being discussed in front of council. When council met a week or two ago, we were just notified at that time that this property was on the market and it was for sale. So at that time, that was the first most of us had heard of it. Council has not met since then. So this is the first time we are together as a council to discuss it. So everything is on the table. How it's come together is we were informed that the property, apparently there's 3 lots where the old Lion Club building is currently on, and they have decided, because of their declining membership, to sell it. It just doesn't make any sense to sell it. City is very, very interested in that from our point of view, in that one of the great needs of the downtown area is parking. We all realize that parking is really a problem, and we're always looking for ways of solving a parking problem. We look at that as at least a portion of it that would solve a lot of the parking issues, and it would really help a lot of the businesses real close by there. In fact, from that point, it's not more than a two-block walk, three-block walk tops to get to any business in the area. Another interesting thing about it, it does have the building there and the possibilities of what the city could do with the building. Whether the building could be used as a community center there, right in the middle of the historic section. There has been some talk that maybe that would be an alternate discussion site for a police department. There's been some suggestion that would be maybe a good place to put some administrative staff. There's all kinds of things. So what we're at right now is the city, since we haven't discussed it, we have not even committed to purchasing it, nor have we committed to say what we would use it for. So you are right here on the beginning of the discussion. If the city decides that at that price, it's a good deal and it makes sense for the city with what our goals are, I'm sure council will want to pursue that. If for whatever reason it doesn't seem like it fits our goals and there's a better use for that property, we will decide that. So you're going to hear the discussion going on as we go. If I can just, Manny, if I can just start off and then we'll throw this back and forth with council. If you can pull up the pictures of the property that we took. We better get those done before we get to lose the power, huh? Okay, there it is right there. I took these pictures a couple days ago. It's on a nice, beautiful cleared lot. It's a building that's over 2,000 square feet. As I understand, restrooms in it, kitchen. It's got a little stage. It's very, very much like what a clubhouse would be. So that's the condition, that's where it is right now, okay? I'm just going to show you various pictures. That's just another angle of it. You can see the outbuilding there. Another picture that kind of gives you an idea where you have the roof line. This picture is just to show you from a different angle how it's juxtaposed to the historic section. If you see right there, right pretty much in the middle of the picture is Grumpel's house. And if you look to the right where the yellow building is, that's where Crazy Chicks is, and that's Victoria's salon there in the yellow bit. So you can see it's just really strategically placed right in the heart of the historic section. That's another picture. It shows the sidewalk. It shows it has the old lights on it. Another picture. That's a picture from a different angle. The building that's dead center in this picture basically is our art building. That shows you how close it is to the art building. The bluish building to the left is a hair salon right there. Okay. That's just another picture, a better picture of Crazy Chicks right there. Another view of Gumbel's house, right? Is it Gumbel's? Grumbles. I always get that confused. And that's, I just took that picture just so you can see what the address, Walnut Street. and Cedar Street. That might be the end, I think, right? So that's where we're at. It is a piece of property that we have talked about over and over and over of the terrible parking situation in the historic section. We've talked about the need of having a community center. There is right now not a place for the people of Dunnellon to meet that's owned by the city for those kind of functions. And it is also, as we're throwing ideas back and forth, what we want to do with the police station, that is also part of the equation to at least discuss that. In other words, nothing's off the table, including buying it or not buying it. That's where you're at. You're right at the beginning. So that was just kind of a overview of it. And like I say, this is the main reason we called this meeting, to discuss this. So let's go down the line. Ms. Cubbins, you have any comments on it?
Actually, I have a few comments. Saw the property. I believe the building is in kind of a derelict condition. The roof definitely is bad news. I don't know the age of the building. It is not an attractive building. I think it is not a fit for what we would like the historic district to look like in the way of buildings. Our immediate need for this community is a police station. I don't see where it would be a location that would be disruptive to the historic district if a police station was located there. Again, the needs for a new police station and its immediacy is something we've been batting around for 6 months, actually longer. The amount of money we've talked about for renovating the Souls Harbor Church, it's a huge sum. And here's something I had mentioned before, is modular building. Okay. And a lot of people think modular building trailer. No, okay. Modular buildings are used by the U.S. government. I have talked to an engineer who resides here in Dunnellon, who contracted with companies who built modular steel buildings for the U.S. government. He said they are hardened. Okay, they are hurricane ready. They're everything but earthquake ready. And what has happened with the modular business is that they have gone out of the institutional look, and they can construct for you anything you want. How do you want it to look? And when they're done and they've got it painted, their fascade, their porches, their columns, anything you want, nobody can tell it was a modular building. Yet you're going to have one of the safest hardened structures that man has ever designed. It's there like forever. I have researched one company. I'm not going to bring this up now because I'm talking too much already, but there's one company, it's rated #1 in the country. They win all the awards. They have a central headquarters in Jacksonville. And guess what the great news is? There's no engineering fee. There's no architectural fees up front. It's all in-house. And this firm not only has built churches, schools, they built anything from small to large. One of the small projects was in Gainesville. They built their fire rescue for the city of Gainesville. They went all the way to the Virgin Islands, and they had built villages for cruise companies, and seen the project summaries online, the photos. It's out of this world. I think a 2-story building is the way to go there. One, it would give greater surface area for parking. And 2, a building could be structured there, again, a modular building, and it would look just like something that belongs in a turn-of-the-century community, historic district. I'm going to stop there because I know this is going to be an agenda item. Okay, so
Yes, and let's be reminded, council, that one of the criticisms that we are receiving is the length of our meetings.
yes, sir.
So we'll all, try to get to, and stay on. Go down the line, Vice Mayor, or we can go back and let you speak last.
I'd like to speak last.
Okay, very good.
I
Ms.
was-
Kay?
I was because, no, as far as this particular issue, this is the first time that we have brought it before the public, the first time that we've had an opportunity to discuss it. I have been on the Planning Commission for a number of years, and I don't pretend to know all of the ins and outs of planning. But I do know that the comprehensive plan is a plan that we try religiously to follow. It is dictated to us by the state of Florida, and it does compel us with certain limitations. Some of the limitations have to do with the integrity of the district. So when you're talking about a district, you want to see consistency usually in the types of buildings and in the types of use. I'm digressing here a little bit because it has already been mentioned that in the city, we right now do not have a community development director. I guess my greatest concern for this particular meeting would be that we would do the most that we could possibly do in regard to due process. We want to make the right decision. And that's not going to be something that would be decided on, I would not think tonight. In regard to the fact that we do not have a community development director, we do have regional planning councils, and we have them available to us. There is some cost, but the cost and the contracts that we have with the regional councils are imperative to our direction right now. Due process is what keeps our values right. It's what is fair for the people in the community. And I think there needs to be a lot of work going forward before we make a decision that we will regret. There are benefits, and I think, Mayor, you mentioned that we not only have this particular building that we are looking at, but you said that there were lots that were available around it. Did you mention that?
Well, I believe the building and the whole property is three lots together.
Well, then, according to the property,
I'm not sure, but that was my understanding.
well, according to the property appraiser, it is on 0.43 acre, so it's not even an acre parcel. But I'll pass this on down to you. and you're
I saw
welcome.
that myself. I don't know if that means that the building itself is on one of the lots and that one lot that it is on is 0.43.
Well, I guess
I
I would
don't know.
say, in response to that, that's why the due diligence is so necessary. We need professional people to help us. We don't pretend to know all the answers, but we do have a dedication to try to find them out. And so that's where I'm at. Let's find out the different possibilities here, and then let's have another meeting. This isn't something that we can just, every time we see a building that we think we like, why we can go ahead and say, well, let's take it. Right now, we have three buildings rather, that are earmarked potentially to be a police station. We have the Soul Sabbath Church. We have the present facility. We don't know, that doesn't seem to be very popular, but it's appraised higher than the Lions Club. And we also, have discussed other things as well. So I think we need to entertain the thought of getting some professional help on this subject. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Williams?
I don't think I want to speak on this at this time, but I do appreciate the chief showing me the Lions Club. And the first thought came to my mind is, it's older than the building that they're already in. It's probably more kept than the building that they're already in. And I just don't think particularly that I like the police department being in that area. It's just too far from the main. But I do like Brenda's idea.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you.
Please.
again, thank you, Chief, for taking me over there. And I guess I put my real estate hat on when I went over there. And, I've been doing that since 1992. I am in no way, shape, and/or form do I pretend to be an engineer or a inspector or anything. I make sure I declare that. However, with my little eye, I saw many things that worried me. And, and even when I walked in, the mold was the first thing that just hit me. I could not support going forward with that building for the city. And I know we talk about our parking. We have that underhand. We already have that taken care of. We have at the Souls Harbor Church, and again, it's only 2 blocks off of a lot of the shops areas where people, when we do our big Boomtown Days and Jazz Up festivals and the wine and the arch festivals, people park over there as it is and they walk to all these festivals. We already have that. We have taken care of that for our citizens already. That is part of the beauty of the property on Ohio Street. I just in good conscience could not see going in there. In my humble opinion, if I were the realtor and I represented anybody, I would say that property is, and I love it, please. It is not a reflection of what the property owners have done and how they've maintained it, because I understand volunteers, you can only go so far with what money you might have. So please, it's not a personal attack on anybody, but it has, the windows are old. Whoever did the roof, I saw shingles already lifting. I saw wires that needed to be taken care of. I would personally think, saving the wood, that you would have to strip that building down to the studs. And definitely get rid of the mold on the sidewalk, because I almost slipped and busted. Thank heavens I had somebody behind me. But it is a beautiful property. I love it. I wish somebody would do something with it that would enhance the historic district. And I would like to see it on the tax rolls for the citizens of Dunnellon as well. What the Lions Club chooses to sell it to and for how much, that is on y'all. That is all on you. As for me, if I had to vote on it tonight, my vote would be lovingly no thank you. It would be a heartfelt no thank you, but lovingly, because I love y'all both.
Okay. All right. So I just have some very simple comments. When I first heard about the property and I heard what it could be bought for, I challenged Troy when he had quoted the price, and I said, it can't possibly be for sale for that. And sure enough, it was. And when I went out there, I was so excited about the prospect that night after our council meeting at 9:30, I actually drove out there to look at the property and walk around. And I was quite amazed that that would be for sale for the price that was already said at a council meeting, so it's public record, for $75,000. And when I looked, I just started getting excited. I says, my goodness, what an opportunity for the city. From the city's standpoint, I know there's other ways to look at it. Now we have this piece of property right in the middle of the historic section that solves our parking problem. Soul Harbor Church is still kind of a little bit away from that exact heart of the city. Like right now, Florida rains as much as it rains. No one would really feel comfortable walking all the way from Soul Harbor Church to Grumble's house, knowing either the rain or the heat or the number of people that don't feel comfortable walking great distances. This is very convenient. So I was looking at it from that standpoint, that price seemed to be like, there's no doubt in my mind that it could be sold for very easily for what it's being asked for. I didn't look at it so much that the building itself was what it was all about. I was looking at it, at that lot, the lot and land, and the possibilities of what the city could do for it is what made it its value. I would argue, although I would not propose this, that it's worth what we can buy it for if you leveled the building and just had it there for the parking that needs in the historic section. That property is also, that building could be used for a staging area for Boomtown Days, be a staging area for our art festivals. It's also used right now for our gunfights at Boomtown Days. There's all kinds of things that can be used. That piece of property, you're only limited. The only thing that's limiting you is your own imagination, what you can do with that. But there are, I agree, putting it back on the tax rolls, putting another business there. How can you not think that's a good idea? So I think there's a lot of different ways of looking at this, and that's what we're doing right here. So I would say, Ms. Roberts, that council is not in any position to make a decision right now. This is new business, something that's just been put on us. And it probably, since we're going to have a workshop and a meeting within a couple weeks, it should be put on the workshop for additional discussion. Let the residents in the area, let the word get out, and so we can have more input, and then we can make a decision which way we want to go with that. So I'm requesting it be put on the next workshop. Yes.
Just real quick, I would like the sellers to know, though, that in order for the city to purchase this property, it's not a week or two away from now that you'll get an answer from us. It's probably, it could be up to a month or two. Because, so I just want you to be aware of that if you have an active buyer, take the money in hand, is all I'm saying.
I have to speak to that. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, as a business, I can't say that they can.
I've got the floor now.
Okay.
I didn't interrupt you.
My apologies.
If council wants to have a workshop and discuss it thoroughly, and then wants to put this in play at the following council meeting, we have all the authority to do that, if that's what we want to do. So to say if you can sell it right now, sell it, because council isn't going to be able to make a decision on this for 2 or 3 months down the line, I don't agree with that.
What I'm saying is, though, that just for their knowledge, because you and I both know that in order for us to purchase something, we would have to have a contract written. We would have to then have the attorney write the contract if we voted on the 12th. And then after that, we would have to come back and vote on the contract. So I'm just saying it's not as easy as when Louise and I do real estate. You present a contract to you, I sign it within 24 hours, and we go forth. There's I'm just letting them know there's a longer process, a good month or two to get our documents to where we can do it legally. And I'm just being.
And it's understood. Everyone in real estate knows there can be a 60-day window before you close.
But I just wanted to make that public.
And I think where we maybe pushed it a little too far is the statement, if you have a buyer in hand, you better make your move, because I
have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the price, because I think did you just say 70,000?
75.
75. Chief, did you tell me we were going to get it for 50 because it was being offered to the city as a site for a police department? They would reduce the price to 50,000?
If it was to be used for a police department, they would seriously consider reducing their price to 50,000.
Thank you. I wanted that clarified.
Right, and that's very, very fair. Possibly if, as long as, I don't know if the sellers who are here, if they're focused only on the city using it as a police department, or if the city would use it to keep it within the city and use it for city purposes. That hasn't been discussed, but this is where we're at. Okay. I would, if the owner has anything you would like to say to us, it might speed up something. If you would want to come up to the podium and say something, or not, you don't have to.
The only thing I want to say is, and I don't know if anybody in this room knew Ralph Estrada.
Can you come up here? We really want to hear every word you have to say, and please give us your name and your address.
Sally Chesterfield, 11937 Hale Street, Dunnellon. I have been.
Excuse me, point of order. You have a councilman out of the seat having a private conversation. That is not appropriate. It is not appropriate.
Okay. I was focused on Sally, and I didn't notice the councilman had left their seat. Okay, please continue.
I have been involved with the Lions Club for 7 or 8 years. Ralph Estrada was our president, and as you know, he passed away from COVID just at Easter time. My main objection or object of this whole thing was because I wanted somehow for the city to acknowledge that this building is an old building. It is a historic building. It does have a new roof. Now I'm going to call the roofing company tomorrow and find out why everybody thinks that roof is wrong. But I wanted it, the Lions Club was part of this city since 1945. And I wanted somehow for the history of it to stay here. I don't just want to willy-nilly sell this off and everybody forgets that it was ever there. It was part of the Baptist church before it was the Lions Club, when the Baptist church was across the street where you all are. And it isn't just a piece of property. It's a history. I found a scrapbook, if I could find the historical society in this town, that goes back to the very beginning and has all the old people, all the pictures of everything that's happened in this town, who was killed, who was murdered, the whole 9 yards. And it's just there. It's just sitting there. Nobody's paying any attention to it but me. And I feel bad about it because Sonny was part of this town from way back, his whole family. And this is a new generation, I realize that. But if we don't keep our history, we don't have nothing. And don't get me wrong, the gift shops are fine. But there's still history in this place. And you can put all the Borbos or whatever they're called in here. And in another generation, nobody's going to know what Boone Town is all about. That's just the way I feel about it. I just think that this isn't just something to throw away. I just don't feel that it is. And we have the plaque that goes way back with all the presidents of the Lions Club, all the way back to the 40s. And somehow I think that stuff should be saved. Something should be done with it. I don't care if it's the police department or what, but the city should do something with it.
Thank you so much. Very heartfelt.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very, very moving. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So we have discussed this. We are going to put it on the workshop. And get the word out. Those that you are interested in this and you have opinions, we'll take a real hard look at it at our July meetings. All right? All right, we're going to go to item number 2, IPO number 92 and IPO number 93 with Kimberly Horn for the grant writing services update and discussion. So, Mandy, what you want to at least kind of get our foot in the water, and then we'll just jump in as we need to. These are on the 2 grants. The one grant for the police department, correct? And the one for Dunnellon Heights.
Correct.
All right. So let me get going on this. I want to compliment staff based on our discussions and the input from residents and the input from council to continue the process of analyzing these grants and looking for the best way of getting the grants. So we have been working on this grant process. One thing we have noticed is we do not have a consistent way of applying for grants. And the city is pretty much, we're paying our bills and we're doing well financially, but our ability to go forward with major projects is dependent on our ability to get grants. So our first grant writer that we contacted out wanted a flat fee to do the grants on Dunnellon Heights and on the police station, wanted $15,000. We all, $15,000 apiece. We all felt uncomfortable about that. Councilwoman Cubbage clearly expressed it. I expressed it in some emails. And staff had been looking for grant writers and whatever. Well, with our continued looking forward, we went back to a grant writer who has been very successful with us, Mr. Fox is his name?
Yes, Fred Fox.
Fred Fox. And we approached him and we asked him if we asked you to write the grants, what would you charge? And what Mr. Fox has is a situation where he is hopeful if he writes the grants, that by writing the grants and being totally familiar with the grants, that he may also, with the contract that we don't have anything to do with, he may be the one that is appointed the administrator of the grant. So an administrator of every grant has an administrator. And every grant, the administrator gets a percentage of the grant. That's just the way it is. So rather than asking for a $15,000 upfront fee, he has been willing to write the Dunnellon grant for Dunnellon Heights. No upfront fee. Where he will take the chance that by writing the grant, and we've had 3 successful, correct? We've gotten 3 successful grants from him. We've done business with him before.
That's correct.
So we know the man, and he's been very good to us. He's willing to write the grant for no upfront fee in hopes, with no guarantee, in hopes by writing the grant, it puts him in a position when a administrator is chosen, he would be one. Kind of like the concept, I look at it as a personal injury attorney, where they take your case and they don't charge you. And if they get you something, they get something. So we are now in a position where we can get the Dunnellon Heights grant written for no upfront fee. And we also are looking at the $15,000 that we had decided to go forward with the police station. And here again, analyzing it, going back to what was said and whatever, and talking with Mr. Fox. This suggested to us, very much like Councilwoman Cubbage had said, that in his opinion, that this particular grant did not have a big chance of being passed. So he said that. So right now, where we're at, I mean, the wonderful news is it looks like we will get our Dunnellon Heights grant written with no upfront fee out of ours. And it looks like the grant that we were looking for toward the Soul Harbor Church is something that we do not want to go forward with. So that's where we're at. Andy, is that pretty accurate? And I do have to commend Jan Smith. Jan really, and Jan Covage especially. Jan made a lot of phone calls, put a lot of time into this. This isn't necessarily her thing to do. And she took it upon herself to vet this out and find this for us, Jan, and we're very, very appreciative of that. Thank you. All right. All right. So that's where we're at. In all the talk about the police station, which has dominated a lot of our conversation, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about other things. And put in that mix is this major, and I have to pat Troy on his back for this, is a major initiative, a major attempt to get Dunnellon Heights paved. No other council has really jumped on it like we're getting ready to do. If we're able to get this grant, which is going to be written for free, we may be in a position that we can get a lion's share of Dunnellon Heights paved. And if we ever pull that off, I think we should have a parade down Pennsylvania Street with confetti, right? So just want to say to you that those of you that come to all these meetings, this is a tedious process. There's no easy answers. I just wish it was just nothing more than snapping your finger and pointing to someone and telling them to do it. This stuff, and it's aggravating. It's aggravating for us, and it's aggravating for the public to come in here and see the struggles, but it's government. You're witnessing government. So go down the line if you want to make any comments, or Mandy, if you want to make any comments on item number 2, please do.
The only thing I would tell you is that I did speak with Andrew today about how to handle this. There was already a vote taken to accept those IPOs for an amount not to exceed $15,000. It was his suggestion, if you're not going to move forward with those IPOs, that their motion be made not to execute and not to move forward with those IPOs.
Okay, can we have a motion and a second, and then we can have discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that we do not move forward with the IPO we just discussed.
We have a second. We have a second. Okay, now it's open for discussion. Covage?
All good news, and I'm glad that we're thinking out of the box, and I think, as I'm going to quote Bill White, he said at one time, this was at a city council meeting, this is public record. Bill White explained when you are dealing with the taxpayers' money, you would like to eliminate as much risk as possible. And this is happening. All good stuff. Thank you, sir.
I said that because I knew this day was going to come. Okay. Ms. Kenny, do you have any comment? We have a motion in a second.
Yes, I seconded it. In other words, I approve that it goes forward.
Sancho?
Just to verify that it's addressing that we're going to take off IPO number 92 and IPO number 93, Kimberly Horn, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just when the motion was made, I just want to make sure it's understood.
Okay, does that conclude discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
And
Good
in addition.
good job. This is wonderful. Great, good job.
Good stuff.
And Mayor,
Yes.
in addition to that, I do believe we would need a consensus of council to allow us to move forward using Fred Fox for the grant services for Dunnellon Heights.
I would recommend us doing a motion for that instead of consensus, and I'll make the motion. To use Fred Fox to write the grant for Dunnellon Heights.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, please note. All in favor?
Aye.
Second. Opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Excellent. Go to item number 3 on the agenda. The adoption of resolution 2021-08, Local Mitigation Strategy Plan 2020 update, amended to add item. Do we have any public comment on number 3? No public comment. So, with that said, so we do have a comment?
I just have a question.
Yes.
And I'm not even sure if this is on number 3, about going back to the Souls Harbor Church and whether or not to use that for the police department. I just wonder, with the high property values that we're seeing right now.
You need to be at
Let's
the,
go to the
and
mic.
it's not on the subject.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was public comment.
the public comment is on this particular item.
There was a public comment.
I was just about to say, on the
Previous one?
IPOs, when we made the,
Okay, well then please come up to the,
The mic.
yeah, because we made,
about,
Where is it?
no, hang on a second. And I was about to say it too, that we did not have public comment regarding the motion on the IPO 92 and IPO 93. We did not
That's
have public
correct.
comment.
That's correct.
So we would need public comment if anybody wants to have public comment on that.
Jim, please have a comment.
Tim Inskeep, 12140 Maple Street, Dunnellon.
You got it.
I'm confused on the Dunnellon Heights paving their roads. So I was hoping that y'all could clarify that. When I buy a house, all right, if I buy a house on a dirt road, its value is of such. If I buy a house with paved roads, same thing, the value is of such. So I don't understand what the return is for the taxpayers, regardless if it's our state dollars, federal dollars, or municipal dollars. What return are the taxpayers getting for paving somebody else's roads when they got the break when they bought the property? Cool, I like Jan's answers.
If we're awarded a grant for this project, it addresses drainage and flooding issues out in Dunnellon Heights
Okay,
that property owners are having to contend with. Plus, it would pave the roads out there. Paved roads increase property value. This would be 100% funded grant.
right.
Where the taxpayer, the local taxpayer, it doesn't cost them anything.
Right, but what I keep hearing from the council, and what I like to always, many times like get up and just say something is, whether it's a federal tax dollar, a county tax dollar, or a city tax dollar, everybody that draws a paycheck and sees that column, where it's taken out, or if you live in the city, regardless, it's a tax dollar that all the working people pay, just like you pay, Jan.
Yes.
So why I feel for their plight, okay, that they may have flooding and whatever. If I bought in a flood zone, okay, or my property's got a problem, or I want my dirt road paved, I would never, ever expect them to take anything out of your paycheck or your paycheck bill to pave my road or take care of my flooding problem. So I don't understand why it's coming out of my paycheck, whether it's federal dollars. Somewhere there should be a return for where we put our money, not just for an individual homeowner. The real estate developers, we all know that the developers make, millions and billions of dollars with what they do. So that's where it should have started, right there. And then you pass it along to whoever's buying the property. This whole scenario, unless, again, I was looking for something that maybe I didn't understand or didn't know, that said, well, we're going to do this, and now we're going to get this much more revenue back into the coffers, all right, rather than somebody taking money out of my paycheck to pay for somebody else's flood problem, or because they bought on a dirt road and we want a paved road at somebody else's expense. I would never expect any of you to pay for my stuff.
If properties are improved within the city, such as our roads, it generates more tax dollars.
Have we done the analysis?
And, well, no, we have not gone quite that far, because until a road is paved and the property appraiser comes in and reappraises those properties on an annual basis, we cannot do an analysis.
Right.
But
I mean, I can do the analysis pretty quick in my brain for the future, what it's going to be, and I don't see a payback on it. And I really appreciate, I'm not trying to drop our dialogue here, but I don't see a return. And if I had to offer that up in a business, I have to show a return. So we have the developers that made money. We have property buyers, okay, that are going to benefit, all right? But everybody that's drawing a paycheck that doesn't live in Dunnellon Heights is losing money.
Okay. Tim?
My time's up?
Yeah.
And just real quick, just to answer something very
Okay,
quickly,
please.
is regardless if we go out for that money is out there. And if we don't get it, then the city of Bellevue will get it, or the city of Timbuktu will get it. Those funds are already there for us to use. It's already been taken out of my paycheck, your paycheck, so we might as well try and get those funds.
Gotcha. Thanks, Valerie.
And that is spot on. What it is these grants are a certain amount of money that either the county, state, federal has put out there. Someone's going to get it. So, if you take the position, well, we shouldn't do that because why are we taking money out of this guy's pocket and all that sort of stuff? Well, that argument could be a good argument, but all you're doing is letting Bellevue or Morrison or somebody else, we'll find Dunnellon. Thank you very much for being so righteous. We'll take that $6 million and we'll put it in our own city. Right? Nancy, I'm so sorry. Would you like to speak now, please? Please, come on. We definitely, the owner of Grumble's house, we definitely want to hear what you have to say.
Nancy Myers, 10925 Southwest 186 Circle, Dunnellon. I just was wondering what the property value was of the Souls Harbor Church now compared to when the city bought it, if it would be, and I have no idea, if it would be advantageous if it's not going to be used for a police department, or if we don't have some, really great need, sell it and put that money. I mean, I guess we need to have a plan of where we're going to put our police station, but I'm just thinking the market's high, but I'm sure y'all have already thought of that, but I thought I'd just bring that up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, did we cover, got the public comments? Now, council, I think we probably need to go back since we went out of order. We actually took a vote before.
Need to redo the motion.
I would think, yes.
Re-second it and re-vote it.
So we go back to number
IPO.
Number 2. So you make the motion. You made the motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we cancel the IPOs that were directed toward the grant.
Okay. And we have a
involving
second
the
by
police
Ms.
station.
Kenny. Okay. If there is no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Just taking care of some house cleaning. Okay, we're at,
Excuse me.
yes?
You also had another motion to authorize Fred Fox to go ahead and apply for the grant.
That is
So
correct. Thank you
we
very
did not
much.
take public comment on that either. So if you want to revisit that as well.
You got to
probably
do
should.
it. Okay, We have public comment on going to another grant writer, the one that I described that was going to do it for no upfront money. Is there any comment on?
I just want to say good job. Awesome.
Well, Tim, you can get right back. Go ahead, keep talking.
No,
Everybody wants that.
Okay, public comment. Do we have a motion?
So I make a motion to go with Mr. Fox.
Mr. Fox, we have a second. Anita? Okay. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. No opposed. Okay, unanimous. Okay, we go to number 3. Readoption of resolution
You already
number,
asked for comments on it. You're ready for a motion.
right, on this one?
Correct.
You want to just start from that point? Okay. Yeah, I've already read it. So Mandy, do you want to explain this first, or do we have public comment first?
I'd be happy to explain, and then you can accept public comment.
Okay, why don't you explain it so they know what it is?
Okay. So back in April, Ken Odom of Marion County Growth Services came and did a presentation on the LMS program and explained to you all that every 5 years, Division of Emergency Management requires the counties and the cities to readopt a 5-year plan. He believes that they were going in the order that they had gone in the past, but apparently the division said we jumped the gun, we did it too soon, and that our resolution needs to be dated post that of Marion County's adoption. So they adopted it on May 5th. So we just needed to get it back on an agenda. It's the same exact resolution. The only thing different is that the dates have changed, but just in order to formalize it, it needed to be on the agenda and read into the record again.
Okay. If anybody in the audience understands that, would you like to make a comment?
I wish it was that simple.
Okay. Can we have a proposed motion?
I move resolution 2021-08 be read by title only.
Okay, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Resolution number RAS 2021-08, a resolution by the City of Dunnellon, Florida, adopting the Marion County Local Mitigation Strategy Plan 2020 update, providing for repeal and conflict, providing an effective date.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved to be approved.
Second?
Second.
Good. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Very good. Okay, now we go to item number 4, which is council comments. As I usually do. Ms. Cubbage, if you would like to start off with number 4, please do.
No comments.
Wow. Kenny?
None.
William?
No, sir.
No. I've heard you speak at public meetings, and you're very talkative usually.
Hey, I talk when I need to.
Okay. Hey, Vice Mayor?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, I just have a few things that I want to go over. Notify the council that I do have an appointment tomorrow at 9:30 to talk with the state about the renewal of our agreement with the parking and the boat ramp. Andrew's going to be on that call with the state with me, and I don't know what the state has in mind. It kind of surprised me that they have asked to change. They actually are contacting us and saying they want to make some changes, which really gives us a big opening. Since they want to make some changes, gives us a big opening to say, let's talk. You know, if you want to change, we'll tell you what we want to change. So that's really important because the contract was written in a way that they pretty much could just say, we want to renew it. And the only way we could not renew it to prove that they have not been doing their part of the agreement. For those who don't know, we have a 25-year agreement with the state that renews automatically every 25 years. It was first written in the 60s when they built the boat ramp, that they would be, even though we own the property, they would be in charge of the boat ramp and those parking areas. So it's put the city in a kind of a funny spot that we own the property, but we don't have control over it. So it'd be very nice if we could at least get control over it. So we'll talk to them about that. An omission that I did not make at our last council meetings is I did want to, as far as Night Island Cove goes, I do want to point out that Paul in our audience right here has put major work into the writing of these applications, the background. He set it up so Bert and I simply had to pretty much drive up there and give a 20, 30-minute presentation, and it was done. And Paul, you did a great job. Thank you. And I didn't give you the accolades that you deserve. And for those that want to know, and it's important, this whole process, Paul told me he cost about $50, filing fees, mailing and whatever. And as I said, Bert bought a tank of gas and I sprung for breakfast. So we were able to be put on the Florida Forever list for under $100. So that property, Night Island, is on Florida Forever list. Jan, I'm kind of pointing you out a lot tonight. I want to say to you, I very much appreciate your comments toward Ken Metcalf on the study of the historic study. He put a lot of effort into it. I know he did, but it seemed to be in an area that it was suggestions and whatever that I think are undoable, impossible to have focused this study more on Pennsylvania, more into the historic section, talking about our bike trail and things like that, I think would have been a lot more beneficial to us. Your questions were kind of like a Watergate kind of dress down there. I mean, but I really didn't, on that study, and he worked hard on it. I'm trying to figure what can we do with it, and I don't see a whole lot there is to do. Manny, please put on our workshop that we need to talk about changing our resolutions into ordinances. We need to kind of get after that. And we need to talk about the action of the council that voted officially to write a letter to the county TPO to say we were okay with removing the bridge component from the Pennsylvania project. In other words, make them two separate projects. I made some phone calls and did some research after that because I truly didn't quite understand what it was that we did. But to just describe it easily is the Pennsylvania Bike Trail project and the pedestrian bridge is one project altogether. And what this is to connect the trail that is currently being built on 41 and 39 to connect into the Blue Run Park, have that trail come out of Blue Run Park, go across the bridge, and then connect into the Pennsylvania bike trail that is going to be built. What the county asked us to do was what I thought it was let us do the Pennsylvania project first, and then we'll do the bridge when we can, but actually What they were asking, and I was confused about, is separate those two into two separate projects. In other words, to say to them, go ahead and do the Pennsylvania part of it, and no agreement tied into the Pennsylvania project that you also are going to do the bridge. So what we would have then is a completed trail going through Blue Run Park that connects into the Withlacoochee Trail, which is amazing. But then when you come out of the park, there's no way to get over the bridge to get to the continuation of the trail that starts on Pennsylvania Avenue. And I've even reached out to Jim Couliard, who is part of this, and he even has said that the two of them, to have one without the other, doesn't make any sense. So right now, council has agreed to send that letter, agreeing to make these into two separate projects. I just wanted to bring this to council's attention. That's actually what we voted on, and I didn't know exactly that. And want to know if council wants to rediscuss that before I sign a letter that separates the two.
I just have
Would you like to speak?
just one comment.
Yes.
I think that's a very advantageous thing to do in respect to applying for grants. Because when you divide those two projects, you're looking at smaller numbers to ask for through grants. And there's some foundation grants out there now that are working with communities on exactly those kind of projects to bring those well-used, well-known trail links into cities, and you got to have that bridge.
I'm glad you have brought it forward. I was not clear to the extent that I learned later how integral it was, and I think that we need to know. And also, I might add, since we have Mr. Marafino here, I think he could explain it better than he does, really.
Okay, Ms. Williams? Vice Mayor?
I appreciate y'all's comments. And,
Thank you.
thank you. I wanted to make sure, I'll speak here in a second. You know, as city council members, we try and do our very best at all of our different positions that we go to. So when I went to the TPO meeting yesterday, and this subject was brought up about the trail, and I jumped in, or Mr. Baums asked me to jump in and kind of tell them what we had decided. And I said, well, there's a letter that was to be sent over and signed by the mayor, and they shook their heads. I was a little taken aback that a decision that this council made as a group was not followed through because of things that happened after a meeting. So I did go forward with my presentation or my description as I had been directed by this council. To let you know, the state of Florida FDOT has been sent their priority list from the TPO, and the TPO did put it on the list. The multimodal trail Phase A is number 21. The bridge is number 51, Phase B. Now let me explain something. And this is how it was explained by Department of Transportation to the TPO. Anything on this list, regardless if it's number 1 or if it's number 70, the TPO ranks them, they give them priorities of if they're already ready, shovel ready, that's how they get higher up on the list. If they're engineered already, these types of things. So 21 and 50. However, if, as you said, DOT calls TPO and goes, hey, we have a grant out there for bridges. We see in your proposed, in your list, priority list, that you have a bridge that you want to put over the Rainbow River. We have funding for it. We'd love to go ahead and do that. Can we go ahead and put that up in the list and get it going? Absolutely. It does not have to be number 1 or number 99. If it is on this paper and DOT knows about it, and there is funding that comes along, DOT is going to call us and say, hey, let's get this going. How can we help? So that is that. So Florida Department of Transportation already has it. It was voted on, and it's a mute point now with the letter that this council directed to have done. I will say, because I was taken back, I've never had a mayor not follow through on a directive that was given by this council. And I wanted to make sure that I went through this because I said, and I highlighted, and you all have it, we would send the letter to a county stating we want to go forward with this project without the bridge at this time, making sure that it's at this time. And again, this is the county, it's in the best interest of the county because this is part of their plan to get everything flowing throughout the state as well as the county. And I made sure I reiterated that yesterday as well. And so, Mr. Mayor, you said, I think I've got it. Mrs. Kinney, it doesn't sound like we have had a lot of choice here. The council's vote, I said, and Troy Slattery even said, council's vote to eliminate that one component for now and re-entertain it when it becomes feasible or more achievable. Mayor White. So what I recommend is just do a consensus, nothing formal. Let's just let them know that's what we're leaning. That the consensus, and I said that the consensus is that the council is in favor of the county proceeding with the multimodal route without the bridge at this time. Louise Kinney, at this time. Again, it was stated numerous that, okay, I've got it. So, Ms. Kinney, at the very end, we cannot word it such that a way that our preference is to have the bridge, but we understand and we're willing to go without it. Mayor White, all right. So, I'm not sure between these statements and phone calls that you must have received or emails or whatever that made you unclear after these conversations. So I'm going to drop it at that, but I will let you know it has gone on to the state, and I hope and I pray that there are funds that come along for this, because I know back, and I made a mistake yesterday at TPO, that the bridge was part of the original management plan. And I just don't know where during that management plan, when it was made in 2008, when we were going nosediving into our recession, how we thought anybody could build a bridge over a river during a recession and put it on a management plan. So, you know, it's, and again, all I can tell y'all is that it's on the projected, it's on our list. If funding comes available, the state, the TPO will most definitely look to get this going, and the county will have to be the LAP engineer.
Local agency program manager.
That's it. Okay, thank y'all.
Very good. With council's approval, I would like, Paul, could you speak to this a little bit? You know the background of it. For those that don't know Paul, Paul has been instrumental. He is one of the founders of Blue Run Park and everything connected to it. Mostly everything that's been written, done, documented.
Cut it right there.
Paul has done it. So here's the guy.
First, I thought Valerie said some things at the workshop before you voted that struck me. I was listening on Zoom at the time. I had other commitments during the night. But while we were doing this, you might as well know the bridge kind of thing. She said, we were never going to do the bridge. The bridge was an afterthought. And that kind of got my hair, what's left of it, growing. We had put it in the management plan. And we were required, we were directed by the head of the Florida Community Trust to put it in the management plan. And the argument was, we are giving you $3 million for a park, for a community. And if it doesn't connect to the community, you don't get the grant. Now, we said in our application, as funds are available. And there were 20 items on the list of improvements. The green shows the ones we've accomplished in the years there. The bike path was number 17. It was clearly on the plan. It's not an afterthought. It's been in the mix for a long time. It's still in the mix. And to push it off to the side just didn't seem appropriate. And you're right that if they happen to get some money for a bridge and someone brings it up, someone representing Dunnellon brings it up and pushes it, they'll get it. There are other people pushing their projects. And often these projects have a generic set of text so that it fits a lot of applications. So you have to have representation that is pushing for your projects. I listened to the words of the meeting this afternoon that was at the TPO meeting. And again, it didn't seem like Valerie was trying very hard to get this project accomplished. At the time, they mentioned it would go at the end of the list until they did the scoring. And it moved, I guess, all the way from 70 up to 51. That's 51 other projects that theoretically are prioritized above it. They typically say the 5 projects at the top of the list are the ones that get funded in a given year. And it gets rejiggered every year as people argue for their projects. But in her argument yesterday, she said, well, this is the way people will get to the city to have economic advice and shop in the stores and different things. And they're going to have to get there by walking or driving out in the street and coming across the hazard lane on the bridge as traffic keeps growing. The trip log has 9,400 trips a day on Route 484. It's going up at 4% a year. So before this project gets done, if it's just out there at number 51, there'll be 20,000 cars on that road as people are walking across the bridge. So it's a project that needs to be done, and I don't think we did our best job by sort of letting it fall on the side. Now, it is a lot of money. Dunnellon deserves to get a share of the TPO budget. I did a calculation. The last time there was a major project in this area was the widening of US 41 in 2005. The TPO prioritizes about $60 million a year of projects. That's a little less than $1 billion since the city got a project of any magnitude. Crosswalks are important, but I don't consider that a major project. But we should have more energy to get our projects done and prioritized. And that's the way I feel.
And we have been working hard on the park. We've been writing grants. We've been persuading the county to support much of it. We have about 5 different agencies, SwiftMud. A lot of different agencies have given us grants to do projects big and small. But the bridge is essential to connect it to the city, and I think it should go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Mandy, you have those pictures I've taken. Show you guys some photos I took today of the bridge. Right here is, let me see. Yeah. Okay, that looks like Palmetto Way right there when you're first going toward the bridge. Now, what's very interesting about this is on both sides of the traffic lanes, there's an 8-foot striped area. So that striped area you see right there is also on the other side. You also have a sidewalk there that's heading toward the bridge. Now, where the striped paint is eventually where the bike trail is going to be. This is where it's going to be, where you come out of the park, you go over the bridge, and you're going to reconfigure where the lanes are, make that a little wider. But that's where the bike trail is going to be. Okay, Manny, let's go to the next one.
Where the white lanes are.
That's correct. So now I'm walking toward the bridge. You can see where we get to the guardrails, those white stripes remained, and it's very important to realize there's also some on the other side. So this is quite wide, and it's about 8 foot. So it's 8 foot from the gutter to where the lane starts. Okay, Mandy. Getting closer, you can see as we approach the bridge, those white stripes remain. Okay?
Stripe.
Yeah. We're on the bridge. There's the fence that prevents the bridge jumpers, but even when we're on the bridge, we still have this path. Okay, Mandy? Now here's where we get into it. As we get over the bridge and we're approaching the park, it narrows. So from this point all the way to the entrance of the park, there's no real safe way to get from there to the bridge. So what we're talking about right here, yeah, I can continue right there. And that's the way it becomes. Okay, Mandy. I don't know if I have any more. That might pretty much do it. Yeah, go back to the one so this is a good picture here. This is a good one. This shows the 2 lanes, and it shows the white striping on both sides. All right, Manny, I don't know if we need to do any more, but show one more. Oh, and this is an interesting thing right here. There's a sidewalk that goes all the way down Pennsylvania. And then when it gets to where the bridge starts, the sidewalk ends. And surprisingly, Chief, you'll like this one, surprisingly what this sidewalk is leading people to is to go to the end of the sidewalk and walk down the embankment and swim, which is driving the neighborhood crazy. So it's kind of unusual that we're giving people a hard time for swimming in that area when a sidewalk leads them to the area and it ends there. So in essence, what you see right there is what we're talking about with the bike trail. If we don't have a bridge, we come out of Blue Run Park and it just ends, and there's no way to get to it until you go over the road and reconnect. So that in essence is what the attempt is, and you can see the people back there. That's the tuber takeout right there. So I just want to just wrap this up by just making a few comments in regard to the vice mayor, is that this item that was brought to council, council had no pre-advisement that this was going to be brought to us. We were not given privy that this was coming up. We had no information about it. Came up very late in a very long, tedious meeting. And your statements weren't, as was pointed out, saying that this was an afterthought and things like that were not accurate. It was part of the original plan. It continues to be part of the original plan. It never was an afterthought. So council was put in a position to try to make a decision on something that has big importance to our entire trail system. No notice, no education. You have always said to me in the past, you don't like surprises. You really made me understand that very clearly. And quite frankly, something of this importance, I think, was a surprise on council. And I think it put council in a position to make a decision on something that really needed a whole lot more discussion.
Excuse me, if you'll remember properly, it had to be put on the city council agenda because I was given on that Friday I was given, as I stated, on that Friday, the choice to go forward with it, as I stated, or the county engineers were going to do nothing with it. I did not have a month to give you to study it, as I have been working on this project since beginning. I have been in numerous meetings, and in fact, our county commissioner had been told about the problem, and they were almost about to try and take it off the list altogether. I pushed to say, whoa, we can't take this off the list. This is going to push us back again, because we had been at number 6. And then when the FDOT came in and said that they would not do the project, that it had to go to the county engineering to do the project, that put us all into a big tailspin. I have sat on numerous meetings with engineers, with TPO, with different people to try and keep this project going. Also, when I say that the bridge was added to the plan, it was not regarding the Blue Run Park. When they originally came, and again, I'm going to state it again, when the project was originally being vetted throughout the city, when I was sitting in the audience, the bridge was not given at that time. The bridge came to us by Kimberly Horn, and I even asked Mr. Odom last night to verify this for me, because I'm like, okay, my mind's going. I've got Swiss cheese. And he was like, you're correct. That was not the original plan to put the bridge as part of the bike trail, be it part of the Blue Run Park, fine, but not because of the bike trail. And he even had a hard time remembering how the bridge got put back into this project. So when I say this, I'm not saying that it's because I don't want the bridge. It's because I thought it was a silly idea. I'm stating the fact that when this council, when a council voted on it, or was getting ready to vote, we were presented with the bridge. We thought, what a great idea. This would make a lot of sense. And that's why we went forward with it, with a bridge. Before that, it was going to be planned without the bridge. So back to your point, I didn't give you enough time, Mr. Mayor. I apologize. I wasn't given enough time, but I will always bring up any subject that, and I had to have that information, that letter, because the engineers wanted it by that Tuesday. I had to have it. But I couldn't give you any more time, sir, to do the job that you were asked to do by this council. And I'm sorry, because there were all other items also brought up that night that were walk-on items, but I don't see us criticizing those items and not giving them enough time to be vetted by this council. Sir.
Vice Mayor, I continue to dispute what you're saying. I can show you documents, written documents that spell out and clearly state that that trail connecting into Dunnellon with a bridge attached to it is critically part of the program from day one. It spells out that that trail, the intention of that trail was to eventually hook into the Withlacoochee Trail that then was going to then go over the river with a pedestrian bridge, and then to allow the bike trail to continue to go into the historic section. It is clearly written out. This is not something that was just thrown out there that let's just add this on. This was clearly part of the plan. What you're suggesting is to remove the bridge from the plan and hope somehow the toughest part of the project, the engineering and the building of the bridge, will then be left to someone at a later date to deal with. There is absolutely no reason, to go forward with the bike trail if you have no way to get to the bike trail. Chief, I mean, I want you to speak before this is over with. I want you to say to us, without having a bridge or a safe access out of the Blue Run Park, with what's out there right now, you don't have to speak right now, but before we're done, what you would think having as a safety concern, what you would think about that as it currently is. Once that trail goes through Blue Run Park, people are going to be coming out of there on going toward Pennsylvania. If we have a bike trail, they're going to be trying to get over that bridge, no matter what. They have no other choice. So, Chief, you want to just speak to this now? Well, get up there, take your shot. You don't have to even agree with me. Just tell me if we have a completed bike trail through Blue Run Park and we have a completed bike trail on Pennsylvania, what are we going to do when we don't have any way to get from Blue Run Park to the beginning of the bike trail near Palmetto?
Well, I think what you need to do is go back to the pictures of the bridge itself. You have a very narrow space and you have cars. You have cars traveling along the bridge. The bridge itself, if you restriped it, could probably be enough room. And I think I have looked at that. But on the other side of the bridge, if you could get the pictures back up there, Mandy. As you see there, no.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
Hold on, that's the next step.
There, we're getting there. Right there. This is where I'm having the problem with this. If we try and go across the bridge, it's this space right here with a bicycle.
It's always an issue.
And that is an issue. Now the city could make money, we could make a bike ferry.
I already thought of that last night.
The bike ferry, or
Mhm.
bicycle.
They probably love it.
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Please do.
Yeah, I would like to, just like council and public, to know that I'm fortunate to have made a friend here in Dunnellon who is a structural engineer. He worked for a company who worked with the Army Corps of Engineers as a private contractor. And anybody who's been in the military knows bridges got to go everywhere, okay? And when we say the term build a bridge, this is going to be what's called a light duty bridge. And here's how these structures are made. And this is done like all the time. And there are, in fact, several companies right here in Florida that build these bridges for mostly private country club, whatever. There's a river, private estate, whatever. Okay, and here's how it's done. They build the bridge. It's prefabricated off-site. And then they come and they put their mountings and they haul the bridge on this giant flatbed truck and they bring a crane and they slap it down, put it down, and voila, you have your bridge. Okay, now here's what's interesting. And I would like to put this on the agenda. Like to discuss this. We can call one of those companies, one of the major ones here in Florida. They will send a structural engineer here, measure the length, how big a bridge we need, and they give us an estimate. Before we pursue a grant, a private foundation grant, we have to have an estimate, okay? It's gonna cost us nothing. And we can start chasing down foundation grant money. And I'm telling you, I have looked, the big thing for corporations right now, they want to shine their image. And how do you do that? Through Go Green projects, outdoor environmental, bring youth, put them on bikes, whatever. I'm telling you, instead of batting this around like a fuzzy dead tennis ball,
It's
let's
not
go
our
forward.
we're not the one responsible to build the bridge.
I know.
I mean,
But
this
if you
is
said we
part
get
of
the
the
funding,
project. This is
okay,
the project.
we don't have to depend on the state for funding. We can go to private foundations. We just need, call a company, they'll come in, look at it, measure. We have an estimate. It costs us nothing. That would give us something that we could start looking for foundation grants.
Councilwoman Cubbage, we have debated for a year for a single weather shelter at
I
City
know,
Beach.
I know, but
I mean, the chances of what you're saying
Costs us
happening
nothing.
are,
costs us nothing.
well,
Just telling you, it costs us.
okay, so
costs us nothing.
what council has said is that we're willing to tell the county that they can separate this now, that rather than it being one continuous project, which means if you do part of it, you got to do all of it. You can't choose what you're going to do and what you can't do. You're going to do it all. It's all on you. County has said to us that unless you chop off the bridge, we're not going to do any of it. We're saying, at least what I'm saying, this was always an understanding that the entire thing's going to be done. The idea that we're going to chop it off and maybe yes, maybe no, as money as comes available, we'll do the other part of it. Even if that's true, the bike trail that's going to be built is not functionally. Remember that picture of the sidewalk that ended and went nowhere? Well, that's exactly what we're creating. Wait a second, I've got the floor. So you're going to be able, coming out, oh, you were just deep, you were breathing deep. I guess you were loving what I was saying.
Sir?
Okay, I'm just kidding with you, come on. So anyway, you're going to come out of that trail and you're not going to have a way to continue with the trail, and you're going to be dependent on a later date when money becomes available to build the bridge. So that's basically what this letter is going to say. And that wasn't the way I understood it. And that's why I was asked yesterday afternoon to sign a letter that stated that. I knew we were having a meeting today. There was no stipulation when I had to sign that letter. I can sign it yesterday, I can sign it today, I can sign it tomorrow. It's nothing said when I have to sign it. So I just wanted to bring this to a council's attention before I sign it. Yes, Ms. Kenny.
When we are talking about something that is this technical, and we think that we are going in the wrong direction, we have a moral obligation, especially when it could be something that would affect life. I don't think that we should hesitate in terms of the letter itself being revoked, because we did not understand, we are being educated on the project. I think it's no reflection on Councilwoman at all. I think that she certainly came with the information that she was given to address to us. And we thought that the project was going to be somehow or another abbreviated. And so as a result, when we did further research, or at least the mayor did and Mr. Marafino did, we should be very grateful. And I am very grateful. And so I am of the opinion that maybe nothing was done in error on purpose. And we should just be glad that we could do something in terms of connecting these trails to the historic area in terms of our future, which is all about the connection to our city. I think it's all positive in the end.
I'll just say one more thing. As far as the safety concerns, of course, that was a concern. And I even made a joke saying we would put those, what was the word, Troy? The white things?
The concrete barriers or delineators?
Delineators, that's the word, I can't remember. And even putting an otter on top of them or decorating them or something. So it was never that I thought that we should just have open road, because that was one of your concerns.
Absolutely.
But as the mayor keeps thinking is that we're just going to have it open. And in the presentation that I said that other night, that we would put up something. And again, Mr. Odom, when he and I spoke last night, he said, oh yeah, absolutely. He goes, it might not be beautiful for the moment, but until you can get it going another way. And I agree, it gets very narrow there, but that's the end of it. And I'd like for us to, because this was supposed to be a very short meeting, and that's why we don't have more than one meeting usually.
Well, in the end, we just have to get it right. It doesn't really matter how it comes about.
But it's already, I mean, it's a moot point now because it's already been sent to the state.
That's too bad.
What has been sent to the state?
The project list.
Do we have a motion to rescind the letter?
I so move.
We have a second. I second it. Any further discussion? All in favor of rescinding?
Public comment.
Oh, public comment. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is a public comment on this. Here you go. Here's your chance to talk about something here. Okay, Tim.
Tim Inskeep, 12140 Maple Street,
There you go.
Dunnellon, 34432. I ride that bike trail probably 2-3 times and go over the bridge. As far as putting a barricade or anything for the traffic, and maybe off topic, may just only be about a letter. If you're not riding your wheels in the gutter, your handlebars are in the road. So that's how narrow that space is. And again, I'm not one side of the argument or another, just letting you know, if you're not in the gutter, your handlebars are in the road.
Would anybody else like to comment on this?
In the letter.
What this is the letter, whether we agree to separate the bridge from the project. Yes, hello, Art. Name and address.
Art Jones, 12163 Palmetto Way, Dunnellon. Yeah, I got concerned there. You're talking about when you're crossing the bridge and it narrows down. And it's funny because it's the bridge over the water has the room, and where it narrows down, you could very easily split it off and go over land, just build an elevated bike path around there and make it a lot safer. So I think rather than put a barrier up, just, let's take the guardrail down, put in an elevated, like a boardwalk or such above there, and just right on down there, and it'd be safe for everybody. Because it's really only a short section where it's really narrow. So that would be my suggestion. I also ride that bike trail 3-4 times a week. And what I do is I get to the end of the bridge there, I stop, get off my bike, and then I look. Make sure not somebody's coming down with a huge trailer or a big semi truck or something before I go. And you also have to make sure if somebody's walking that way, you better look first before you go there. But it would seem like it would be a pretty simple solution just to move the guardrail, just create an opening, put an elevated ramp there for the bikes and pedestrians, get them right off the highway. And a lot of people use that. A lot of people use it.
Good suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the point to that is that should be part of the solution of the entire project, not to be done after the fact. But anyway, anyone else that would like to comment on it? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to retract the letter that was written by Mandy that says we are agreeable to separate the bridge from. So all in favor of retracting the letter, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Go nay on this one.
Okay, the letter will be retracted by a vote of 3-2.
Okay. And that is Councilman Coverage and Vice Mayor Hanshaw, right? Right, I have that. Mayor, if it's okay, just as a point of clarification, I would like to read something that I found in some of the notes on the. I don't think that there's any question that the bridge, the inclusion of the bridge was in the management plan of Blue Run Park when that was developed back in 2008. But initially, it was not part of the design of the pedestrian, of the multimodal project. So when Vice Mayor Hanchar says it was not originally a part of the project, that is a true statement. It was not in the original plan that was approved in 2016. That did the Kimley Horn plans that were approved in 2016, that FDOT worked with them to design the conceptual plan D. And then in the notes here, and this is coming, this was some of the notes that were based on our conversation with the engineers a few weeks back. It says TPO commissioned Kimley Horn to develop a final concept plans for city approval. The intention was to submit a final concept to FDOT for inclusion in the state work program. The 2019 recommendation from Kimley Horn added the following elements to FDOT's concept based on the approved 2016 alternate D design. Number one, a separated pedestrian bridge. Number two, the addition of a water line, which would be eligible for federal or state reimbursement. And then it goes on with some more notes here, and I'll be glad I've sent this out to you guys already, but I'd be glad to send it again. But in his notes, and it's here in underline, the risk/complications associated with the addition of the bridge and water line is likely where the project stalled. So that's coming from the county. So just to be clear, although it was in the management plan, it was not in the original approved conceptual design and wasn't added until 2019 to that design.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, this is finished business.
Thank you, Mandy, for clarifying my point.
I just want everybody to be understand exactly
Thank you.
what.
This is where we wanna hear it all. All right, we go to number 5, department head comments.
Before we do, Mayor, there was a walk-on that Councilwoman Covage had requested that I emailed you all
Okay. Yes.
yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but I have the letter here that about the Steinbrenner Foundation.
And it is a draft.
Okay, good.
For your consideration.
It is a draft, but something that I sent out to you guys for your review. If you want to move it forward to the next workshop, that's fine. But wanted to give you an opportunity to have any input that you may have tonight at the request of Councilwoman Covage, and if she would like to speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, Troy pointed out to me there's a blatant error in this letter in that the city has given the Dunnellon Little League $15,000, not $10,000. So that amount needs to be changed in the letter.
And just, and I think we should put this on the workshop, but just from when
You'll
we
have more
used
time.
to, but from when we used to do junior league and we'd get some comments or letters requesting, brief, make it brief. I love the part that you're telling about each of us. However, compressed. Because you want to pop them, you want to get it done in 2 to 3 paragraphs.
Well, we can bring it back to you
Yeah,
at the
sure.
workshop. We can work on it together and bring it back for you to look at.
Hey, Ms. Kenny?
Oh, I'm fine. I think it's a great idea. So however they want to get it accomplished, I
Oh, no, great
support it
idea.
100%.
Hey, Ms. Williams?
If it's to help the Little League, I'm all for it.
Okay. As been mentioned, I do know the Steinbrenner family. I've done business with them. I've trained their horses, and I will do what I can to get their attention. Okay. I will reach out and, I don't know what they think about me. Yeah, you never know, but I think the very last horse I ran for them won. So,
That's a plus.
very good. Okay, can we go to number 5 now?
Sure.
Okay, department heads. Troy, we're not going to make you go last, please.
I actually don't have anything to speak on.
That's impossible.
Nope. The only thing I was going to speak on has been moved to the workshop for July. That's any questions you all may have had about the properties, the current police department, the Souls Harbor, or the Lions Club. So.
Probably what I would appreciate, and will at council, is if you could give us maybe not even verbal, to take time and go there, but just to maybe give us a written summary of where we're at on the completion of our parking projects. I know there's a lot of delays and whatever. So if you can just give us a little summary of where you're at, what the delays are, and when you anticipate that could be finished, it would be helpful.
I can. The parking lot project came to a stall. I gave you an update at the last council meeting about the materials for the chain link and the red brick pavers. We were told that the delivery for the chain link and the red brick pavers would have occurred Monday and Tuesday of this week. It did not. So as of right now, the engineer had a conversation right before tonight's meeting as to what to do to help move forward. And I will be speaking with Mandy about the details of how to speed up this process. But right now, we're just waiting on those 2 major components. Well, I take that back. The third component is resurfacing of the basketball court. The subcontractor that was hired or selected to do it through the main contractor was trying to renege without additional funds or additional insurance, that they would not be held responsible for the quality of the outcome. And I think we have come to a resolution at that conversation. And again, was told that they would have been here yesterday or today. But given the weather conditions, they couldn't have done it yesterday or today. So I'll give you another update before the next council meeting. I will get an email out to council if something moves in the right direction. Okay?
All right, any other department head comments?
I don't have any.
Dan, I think you have. And,
I think I'm all talked out.
Is Andrew ready to speak if he needs to?
Did you have anything?
Yes, can you all hear me?
Oh, Andrew?
Yes, is the mic picking up?
The what? Andy may need to adjust the.
Yeah, we've had a thunderstorm here, so I'm having a little bit of trouble. Can you hear me okay?
Andrew, you
hold
sound
on
like
1
you're
second.
Martian.
We gotta have our IT adjust the levels a little bit so we can hear you.
Okay.
Here comes IT.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little muffled on the speakers in here.
Okay, try again. Okay, can you hear me now?
That's better. Can you guys hear him better? Give us another test, Andrew.
Testing.
Okay.
Okay. I'll try to talk slow. Is that, I don't have that much to say. Can you hear me okay and understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have a report. The only thing I have to inform council, I have had a chance to review FWC's template updated agreement that would be the basis, that they're proposing for the boat dock. And all I would say is that, Mayor, and I had mentioned this to Mandy via email, if you all are available tomorrow, perhaps 15 minutes beforehand, I'd just like to, if we could maybe get together and discuss that going into the discussion with FWC. Does that work for you all?
It's ahead tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll get together with you, Andrew, tomorrow about 9:15.
Okay, I can call in or,
Just give you a call.
okay, that sounds good to me. I look forward to it. That's all I have, council.
Okay, very good.
Safe travels home.
Okay, before, before we get to adjourn,
It's about that meeting.
Oh,
It's
okay,
at
okay, I'm sorry.
9:15 about the 9:30 meeting.
Okay, all right.
I asked a lady I've met to come and speak to us, and she's been sitting here the entire time. Linda, we're about ready to conclude our business. Before we do, can you please come up?
I'm going to be very brief, because I didn't expect to speak, because usually when you're late, as late as I was, the door's locked and you can't get in.
Okay, Linda, give us your name and your address.
Okay.
And speak into that microphone so we can hear every word you say.
Okay, my name is Linda McCone. I live at 12440 North Handy Terrace in Dunnellon. My aunt was a lifelong member of this community. She died 3 years ago. She was 101 years old. I came here in 2013 to be with her, to care for her, and have stayed on. I want a dog park in Dunnellon. That's why I'm here. I go to Inverness to a dog park called Bark Central, and there are people there who live in Dunnellon, and we would love to have a dog park in Dunnellon. That's why I'm here. I understood from last night that land may be a problem, but this is something that I can come back and discuss at another time when I'm on time.
I love dog parks. Dog parks are
Thank you.
in.
That's a wonderful idea. And I know we've gone to Ocala to the dog park over there. So
And we see a lot of dogs on the trailhead, lots
Yes.
of them.
And some of the people who are on the trail actually go to the dog park in Inverness. The dog park is a private dog park. Your dog has to have its shots. There's a monthly fee, et cetera, et cetera. It's 5 acres on one side for little dogs, 6 acres on one side for big dogs. I don't expect anything so elaborate, but anything that would help us to walk our dogs at a doggy park and help them to socialize here in Dunnellon would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
Awesome.
Council, let's keep that in our mind. That's a good idea. And Troy, when
Lots of people
you're
traveling to
when you're roaming around, if you see something that looks like it works, let us know.
See dogs in kayaks all the time on the river. Let's bring them in town.
Mandy, before we get to adjournment, one more thing I would like on the workshop. We need, there's some things in motion now as far as the police station, and we need to get after that. So please put that on the workshop. I'm going to come up with some new ideas and some new angles, and we need to move forward. The police station has taken a lot of our time.
Yes.
It's taken a lot of our energy. It's creating people that are for it or against it or whatever. It's kind of creating divisions. So I think what Troy said last time was very prophetic. It's time for council to make a decision and give direction. And I think it's been discussed to death. And one way or another, we got to get to the bottom of this. And I know you would appreciate it as much as anybody, right? Okay, so please put that on the workshop. Okay, any other comments before we? Okay, a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Second? All in favor, unanimous. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
And Mayor White, if I can speak intelligently about a subject.